My fiancé came to me one evening and dropped a bombshell. I've decided I'm going to hyphenate my last name with my ex-boyfriend's, but only for professional reasons. I just nodded and said, yeah, that makes sense. Then, without missing a beat, I pulled up our wedding website and edited the invitations to say that my attendance was still undecided. Within minutes, her bridesmaids were blowing up her phone. So here's the scene. I'm 31, sitting at the kitchen table, sorting through invoices from different wedding venues. Marissa, she's 29, walks in with this serious look on her face, the kind of look she calls her professional announcement face. She goes, "Babe, I need to talk to you about my name once we're married." I figured she was about to tell me she wanted to keep her maiden name. No big deal. Totally fine. So I asked, "What's up?" She said, "I'm going to hyphenate." I just shrugged. Okay, lots of people do that. But then she followed it up with, "Not with your name. With Nolan's." That made me put my coffee cup down. Nolan, as in your ex-boyfriend? Yes, but it's for professional reasons, she explained. All my published research is under Marissa Dalton Greystone. If I change it now, I'll lose all my academic recognition. Here's some context. Marissa dated Nolan Greystone for 4 years. They broke up 3 years ago. She and I have been together for 2.5 years, engaged for 6 months, with the wedding set for 2 months from now. So I told her flat out, "You never married the guy. You never legally took his name." She shifted uncomfortably and admitted, "Well, no, but I started using it professionally back when we were together. His last name carries a lot of weight in academic circles." I stared at her. "So what you're telling me is you've been publishing under your ex-boyfriend's name the entire time we've been together?" She shook her head. "It's not like that. It's purely professional." I looked right at her, taking it in. "So after we get married, your full name is supposed to be Marissa Dalton Greystone Whitmore?" She waved that off. "No, that's way too long. I'll just stay Marissa Dalton Greystone." I asked, "So you won't take my name at all, but you'll keep your ex's?" Her defense was, "You're being emotional about something that's completely practical." So I smiled and said, "Makes sense. Totally understand." Then I grabbed my laptop. She visibly relaxed. "Really? Oh, thank God. I thought you'd lose it." I told her, "Nope, everything's fine." And then I opened our wedding site, changed the header from Marissa and Ethan's wedding to Marissa and Ethan's wedding, attendance TBD, and rewrote the invitation to say, "You are invited to celebrate the union of Marissa Dalton Greystone and Caleb Whitmore. Groom's attendance still under consideration." She looked at me, panicked. "What are you doing?" I said, "Making my own professional announcement." Right on cue, her phone lit up. Bridesmaid number 1, Talia, was already calling. As soon as Marissa picked up, I heard Talia yell through the speaker, "What the hell is this about Ethan not showing up to your wedding?" Marissa tried to brush it off. "It's nothing. He's just being petty." I called out from the table, making sure Talia could hear me. "Ask her about why she's keeping Nolan's name." Everything went dead quiet. Then Talia's voice came back sharp. "Nolan? As in your ex-Nolan? Have you lost your mind?" Update 1. Her bridesmaids have been running full damage control ever since, and honestly, it's been hilarious to watch. First, they tried staging an intervention. All 4 of them, Talia, Serena, Bianca, and Marissa's sister Elodie, showed up at our apartment while Marissa was still at work. Talia took charge. "Ethan, you need to knock this childish act off. You're humiliating Marissa." I shot back. "She's humiliating herself by clinging to her ex's name." Then Serena jumped in with the sympathy card. "You don't understand academia. Publishing records are everything." I said, "She was never married to him. It's not her legal name. She's basically been pretending to be his wife professionally while dating me." Serena tried to soften it. "But she loves you. The name doesn't mean anything." I didn't budge. "If it doesn't mean anything, then she can drop it." That's when Bianca, the blunt one, cut in. "You're seriously going to blow up your entire wedding over this?" I told them, "I'm not blowing up anything. I'm just being honest that I'm not sure about this marriage anymore. You know, the same way Marissa was honest about using her ex's name for 2.5 years. They left right after Marissa came home and caught them mid-intervention. And let me tell you, the fight that followed was epic. She stormed in yelling, You let my bridesmaids ambush you without me here? I shot back. They ambushed me. Maybe stop crying to them about how unreasonable I am. She screamed, because you are unreasonable. It's just a name. I countered, then take mine. She hesitated, then said, I can't. My whole career is built on pretending to be tied to your ex. That night, she packed a bag and stayed at her sister Elodie's. But this is where things got interesting. My buddy Marcus works at the same university as Marissa. Different department, but in academia everybody knows everybody. He did some digging for me. Turns out Nolan Greystone isn't just some ex. His dad, Dr. Victor Greystone, happens to be the dean of Marissa's department. And Nolan himself? He's an associate professor there. Every single one of her published papers, co-authored with Nolan. Every conference she's spoken at, organized through the Greystone family's connections. So it's not about recognition. It's about access. She's been hanging onto his name because it keeps the doors open. I texted her, how many of your papers would have been published without Nolan's name attached? She read it. No reply. Then, out of nowhere, Nolan himself called me. Hey Ethan, I heard about the whole name situation. Just so you know, I had no idea she was still using it. I asked, really? He hesitated. Well, okay. I knew she was using it professionally, but I figured she'd drop it once you two got married. Honestly, it's kind of weird for me too. So I pressed him. Then why haven't you ever said anything? Long pause. My dad likes her work. Thinks she's good for the department. I was told not to stir things up. I cut in. So your daddy is shielding your ex-girlfriend's career? And she's using your name to keep that protection? He tried to soften it. When you put it that way, there are other ways to see it. Then he hung up. Update 2. Marissa eventually came home with what she thought was a compromise. Okay. I'll hyphenate with both names. Dalton Whitmore Greystone. I didn't even hesitate. No. She threw her hands up. Why not? I told her. Because you're still including your ex's name. And let's be real, that's not a compromise. That's you keeping everything you want and tossing my name on top like a participation ribbon. She snapped at me. You're being impossible. I shot back. No, I'm being consistent. If you want to stay a Greystone in your professional life, then you can stay single in your personal one. That's when she finally revealed the real issue. I already submitted my tenure application under Dalton Greystone. If I change it now, I'd have to redo the whole thing. Could push my tenure back by years. I stared at her. Wait, you submitted your tenure application without even telling me? She gave me this sheepish look. I was going to surprise you when I got it. I asked, and your big surprise would have been tied to your ex's last name? She threw her arms in the air. God, why are you so obsessed with Nolan? I shook my head. I'm not. You are. You're the one trying to drag his name with you all the way to the grave. She tried to argue. That's not. I cut her off. What about our kids? Do they get Whitmore or do they end up carrying Greystone too? Her face went pale. I haven't thought about kids. I sighed. Of course you haven't. You're too wrapped up in your career. And that career? It's built on your ex's family name. That's when the nuclear option arrived. Her mother, Lorraine, called. Darling, Marissa tells me you're having second thoughts about the wedding. I answered flatly. I'm having second thoughts about her keeping her ex-boyfriend's last name. Lorraine tried to smooth it over. Yes, but it's just pragmatic, dear. Surely you understand that. I asked her, would you have taken your ex's name if it was pragmatic? That's different. How? Well, I wasn't building a career. So I said, then you're admitting your daughter is choosing her career over her marriage? Silence. Well, she can have both. Not with me, she can't. Lorraine changed tactics. We've already put down deposits. For the venue, catering, flowers. I said, I'll cover half. Send me the bill. That's not the point. Guests are traveling in from all over the country. They're welcome to come. I just might not be there. You can't be serious. Ask your daughter if she's serious about marrying Nolan's name instead of me. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of furious typing. Marissa was hunched over her laptop. I asked, what are you doing? She didn't even look up. Proving a point. Turns out she had built a full-on PowerPoint presentation. Slides, graphs, citations, even a publication timeline. all explaining why it made sense to keep Nolan's name. By slide 12, titled Cost-Benefit Analysis of Name Change, I couldn't help but laugh. You actually made a PowerPoint to convince me to let you keep your ex's last name? She glared at me. I'm being logical. I shook my head. No, you're being ridiculous. This isn't just your career. It's supposed to be our marriage. She snapped the laptop shut. Maybe we should postpone the wedding. I shot back. Maybe we should cancel it. We just stood there, staring each other down. Finally, she broke the silence. I'm not changing my professional name. I said, then I'm not changing my RSVP status. Update 3. Things have completely fallen apart, and her entitlement is off the charts. Marissa went behind my back and emailed all our guests, saying the wedding website had been hacked and they should ignore the RSVP changes. She assured everyone the wedding was still on as planned. So I fired off my own email an hour later. Attached screenshots of our texts about the name issue. Subject line, not hacked, just honest. The family drama exploded instantly. Her dad, Douglas, called me directly. Son, you're humiliating my daughter. I told him, she's humiliating herself by clinging to her ex's name. He tried to excuse it. It's just business. I asked, marriage isn't business. Unless she's marrying me for business reasons too? Click. He hung up. But then I got a call I didn't expect. Her grandmother, Margaret. She's 82, doesn't sugarcoat anything. Ethan, dear, I need to tell you something about my granddaughter. What's that? She dated that Greystone boy specifically for the family name. She told me herself she'd never have gotten into that PhD program without his father's recommendation. She used him then, and she's using you now for stability, while keeping her foot in the Greystone's door. I love her, but she's always been calculating. Gets it from her mother. I asked, why are you telling me this? Because you seem like a nice boy, and you deserve better than being somebody's backup plan. That night, I did something petty but necessary. I called the venue and canceled my portion of the payment. Since Marissa had insisted on the fancy country club, the one the Greystones conveniently belonged to, the venue required both our cards on file. Without mine, they demanded full payment upfront. Marissa called me, screaming, the venue says you pulled the payment. Yep. The wedding's in 2 weeks. What wedding? I still haven't decided if I'm showing up. Remember? They want 15 grand right now or they'll cancel. Better give Nolan a ring. I'm sure the Greystone name still carries some weight. And believe it or not, she actually did. She called Nolan, trying to get his family to cover the venue. An hour later, Nolan called me. Dude, your fiancée just asked me to pay for your wedding venue. I told him, she's not my fiancée anymore. He chuckled. She doesn't seem to know that. I said, she will soon. The very next day, Marissa tried something that still blows my mind. She scheduled a meeting with a lawyer to see if she could sue me for breach of promise since we were engaged. The lawyer, who happened to be a friend of a friend, gave me a heads up afterward. He said she stormed out when he asked, so you want to sue your fiancé for refusing to marry you while you keep your ex-boyfriend's name? Update 4. The week leading up to what was supposed to be our wedding turned into a complete circus. Marissa moved back in with her parents, but she still kept showing up at my apartment to grab her stuff. Really, she was just trying to guilt me with dramatic crying scenes. I ended up installing a Ring camera, caught her literally practicing her tears in the hallway before pressing the doorbell. Then came her grand finale, the ultimatum email. She CC'd both of our families. Dear Ethan, after much reflection, I'm willing to compromise. I'll legally change my name to Whitmore but continue publishing under Dalton Greystone. This is my final offer. If you don't accept, I'll be forced to proceed with the wedding alone and explain to our guests why you abandoned me over something so trivial. Love always, Marissa. I hit reply all and sent this back. Dear Marissa, a marriage where you take my name legally but keep your exes professionally is not a compromise. It's a deception. You'd be Mrs. Whitmore at home and Mrs. Greystone at work. I won't be anybody's part-time husband. And by the way, a wedding without a groom isn't a wedding. It's just a party. Ethan. P.S. Still deciding on attendance. That line sent her bridesmaids into full meltdown mode. They spun up a group chat with me titled Save This Wedding. Talia messaged first. You're destroying her life. She's been crying nonstop. Bianca chimed in. The deposits are non-refundable, Ethan. And Elodie, her sister, added, "Honestly, I think you're right, but please, just cave." I responded by sending each of them a Venmo request for $3,750. Their share of the wedding cost if they cared about saving it so much. One by one, they left the chat. But then came the best twist. Remember how I told you all of Marissa's papers were co-authored with Nolan? Marcus dug deeper and discovered that on the last 3, Nolan had done about 90% of the work. Marissa was basically just hitching her name onto his efforts, riding the guy's coattails. And when Nolan's new girlfriend, Camilla, found out, she was furious. She called Marissa directly and told her to cut it out. Either stop using Nolan's name or she'd go straight to the university ethics board about the bogus co-authorship. That night Marissa called me, sobbing. "Nolan's girlfriend is threatening me." I said, "Good." She gasped. "Good? Ethan, my career could be ruined." I told her, "You mean the career built on your ex's last name? That career? You don't understand. Without those papers, I won't get tenure." "Then maybe you should have done your own work instead of riding the Greystone train." "I did do work. Under another man's name. While engaged to me." She hung up. Final update. On what should have been my wedding day, I woke up to 73 text messages. Bridesmaids, family, random guests, and of course Marissa. The standout was a 3 a.m. text from her. "I'm at the venue in my dress. If you don't come, I'll never forgive you." I wrote back, "I never forgave you for keeping Nolan's name." Guests were divided on whether I'd show. And truthfully, I did go, but not to marry her. I went to witness the chaos. I rolled into the venue wearing jeans and a t-shirt. The whole place was decked out, flowers everywhere, tables set. Guests were whispering, confused. Marissa was in the bridal suite having a meltdown. Her dad, Douglas, marched over. "Son, you came to your senses?" I shook my head. "Nope, just came to give this back." I handed him the ring. "You're really doing this here now?" She really kept her ex's name here now. Next came Lorraine, trying one last time. "Ethan, please, think about what you're throwing away." I told her, "I have a future where my wife publishes under her ex-boyfriend's name." "Yeah, I thought about it." And then Marissa appeared, full bridal gown, full makeup, full delusion. She spotted me. "You came." She actually ran toward me. I stood my ground. "Not for what you think. I'm not marrying someone who values their ex's name more than our relationship. It's just a name. Then change it." "I can't." "Then I can't marry you." The entire room froze. Phones were out. People were recording. Elodie was scrambling, telling guests it was performance art. Marissa's final desperate card. "If you walk out now, I'll tell everyone you're gay." I laughed, loud. "Go ahead. At least then people will understand why I don't want to marry someone obsessed with their ex-boyfriend." Plot twist, Nolan and Camilla were there. Marissa had actually invited them like some bizarre olive branch. Camilla stood up. "Actually, Marissa, why don't you tell everyone about how you asked Nolan to dump me last week so you could keep using his name without the drama?" The room went dead silent. Nolan blinked. "You what?" Marissa stammered. "That's not." "I didn't." Camilla held up her phone. "I have the texts. You said, and I quote, 'If you really cared about my career, you'd understand why I need this.'" Nolan stood, livid. "We're leaving. And Marissa, I'm filing to have you removed from all future publications. Use your own name." The Greystones walked out. Half the guests followed. Marissa turned to me. Mascara streaked down her face. "This is all your fault." I said, "No, this is all yours. You chose a name over a marriage." Then I left. The aftermath? Beautiful. Marissa went ahead with the reception anyway. About 20 people showed up out of 200. She gave some speech about choosing herself that ended up on TikTok. The comments section tore her apart. The university launched an ethics investigation into her publications. Nolan's father pulled her from 2 upcoming conferences. She had to move back in with her parents because she couldn't swing rent alone. Her tenure application got denied. Last week, she texted me from a new number. "I would have changed it eventually." I answered, "Would have, could have, didn't." She doubled down. "I'm keeping Greystone professionally. This is who I am now." I shot back, "Cool. Stay single professionally too." Then I blocked her. As for me, I'm thriving. I started dating Sienna from my CrossFit gym. First thing she told me was, I don't even use my real name on social media. Too many creeps out there. When I told her the Marissa saga, she laughed for 10 minutes straight. Her take: she wanted to keep her ex's name? What was she trying to do, parent trap him back? We're keeping things casual for now, but she's already joked that if we ever got married, she'd proudly take my name, because, in her words, Whitmore sounds badass. And for those wondering if I regret any of this, not a chance. Marissa showed me exactly who she was. Someone who wanted prestige more than partnership. She cared about being Dr. Dalton Greystone more than being my wife. Good luck with that career built on someone else's name, Marissa. Hope it keeps you warm at night. Oh, and Margaret, the grandmother, called me last week. You dodged a bullet, dear. She's already on Hinge, listing herself as Dr. Dalton Greystone. The delusion lives on.